Good morning. This is the continuation of the chapter Peasant and Farmers. In the previous module, we have learnt about the first part of this chapter, that is the coming of modern agriculture in England. Here we are going to continue with it. We will be turning towards the second part of this module, that is bread basket and dust bowl. And in the next module, we will be discussing about the Indian farmer and opium production. So, bread basket and dust bowl. This is something related with the growth of commercial agriculture in America, how the people started moving from England and other parts of Europe to America, what transformations they made in the landscapes of America, how they got indulged in commercial agriculture, and finally how the mechanization started in America and what were its impact. So I have broadly divided this heading bread basket and dust bowl in 4 or 5 parts. The first one will be the westward move and wheat cultivation. The second, the wheat farmers. The coming of new technology, that was the arrival of mechanization. And then what happened to the poor, that is once the mechanization started, how it affected the lives of the poor. And the last one will be the dust bowl. So if we move towards the first heading, that is the westward movement and wheat cultivation. If we look at the map of America, or if we look at the world map rather than America, if we look at the world map, you will find that the first arrival of the European people in America, they landed on the eastern coast of America, and then they started moving towards west. Initially they landed on the eastern coast, and then in search of land, in search of areas to be cultivated, they started their westward move. So this particular topic we have to discuss on this, the westward move and wheat cultivation. White Americans started moving westwards. In this particular thing, we are going to discuss upon the changes in the American landscape, which was occurring because of the westward movement of the white Americans. At the end of the 18th century, settled agriculture had not developed on any extensive scale in the USA. Forest covered over 800 million acres and grassland 600 million acres. So most of the America was covered by the forest or grasslands, but slowly it started turning towards cultivable land. Most of the landscape was not under the control of white Americans. Till the 1780s, white American settlements were confined to a small narrow strip of coastal land in the east, where they have landed in the initial years. Native American groups in the country were nomadic, some were settled. Many of them lived only by hunting, gathering and fishing. Others cultivated corn, beans, tobacco and pumpkin. So there was not much change in the landscape of America till the initial 19th century, or we can say the early 20th century. But after that there was a dramatic change in the landscape. Changes brought by the white Americans in West America. By the early 20th century, this landscape had transformed radically. White Americans had moved westward and established control up to the west coast, displacing local tribes and carving out the entire landscape into different agriculture belts. The USA had come to dominate the world market in agriculture produce, as all the landscape was changed, and in place of the pasture lands and forest, cultivable land was developed and the complete area was turned into agriculture belts. If we move towards the next heading, that is the westward move and wheat cultivation. The westward move and wheat cultivation. Here we have to first discuss the white Americans started moving westwards. After the American War of Independence from 1775 to 1783 and the formation of the United States of America, the white Americans began to move westward. In 1800, over 7 lakh white settlers had moved onto the Appalachian Plateau through the passes. Seen from the east coast, America seemed to be a land of promise. Its wilderness could be turned into cultivated fields. Forest timber could be cut for export, animals hunted for skin, mountains mined for gold and minerals. That's why it was termed as the land of promise, because of the suitable climate, the vast amount of minerals, the vast land, all was very much what you can say attracting the people from Europe to get towards in America and to settle over there. In the decades after 1800, the US government committed itself to a policy of driving the American Indians westward, first beyond the river Mississippi and then further west. As the Native Americans, that is the original people of America, retreated, the settlers poured in. They settled on the Appalachian Plateau by the first decade of the 18th century and then moved into the Mississippi Valley between 1820 and 1850. They cleared larger areas and erected fences around the fields. They plowed the land and sowed corn and wheat. When the soil became improvised and exhausted in one place, the migrants would move further west to explore new lands and raise a new crop. It was, however, only after the 1860s that settlers swept into the Great Plains across the river Mississippi. We come towards the next heading, that is the wheat farmers. Once the white Americans got the land, they cleared the landscape and they started agriculture belts over there. Their most emphasis was on wheat, because the overall demand in the world was of wheat. A dramatic expansion in wheat production in the USA, as there was a big demand of wheat throughout the world, so the white Americans started the production of wheat. From the late 19th century, there was a dramatic expansion of wheat production in the USA. Rising urban population, rise in the export market, and the rise in the wheat prices encouraged farmers to produce wheat. The spread of the railways made it easy to transport the grain from the wheat growing regions to the eastern coast for export. By the early 20th century, the demand became even higher, and during the First World War, the world market boomed. In 1910, about 45 million acres of land in the USA was under wheat. 9 years later, the area had expanded to 74 million acres, an increase of about 65%. In many cases, big farmers, the wheat barons, controlled as much as 2,000 to 3,000 acres of land individually. If we move towards the next heading, that is the coming of new technology. To discuss upon this point, the coming of new technology, as the white Americans were moving westward, they were running on the plateaus, the area which was covered by the grasslands, so they were finding it difficult to do the cultivation of this particular field. First of all, you have to remove the grasslands, you have to make the soil soft, only then you can go for the agriculture. So all this required machines, and the help of the coming of new technology, obviously the things were turning better for the white Americans, or we can say the barons or wheat farmers. This dramatic expansion was made possible by new technology. Through the 19th century, as the settlers moved into new habitats and new lands, they modified their implements to meet their requirements. That is, technology played a great role in the dramatic expansion of wheat production. The prairie was covered with a thick mat of grass with tough roots. To break the sod and turn the soil over, a variety of new plows were devised locally. By the early 20th century, farmers in the Great Plains were breaking the ground with tractors and disc plows, clearing vast stretches for wheat cultivation. If we look towards some of the machines brought by the farmers, in 1831, Cyrus McCormick invented the first mechanical reaper. By the early 20th century, most farmers were using combined harvesters to cut grain. With one of these machines, 500 acres of wheat could be harvested in just 2 weeks. For the big farmers of the Great Plains, these machines had many attractions. The prices of wheat were high and the demand seemed limitless. With power-driven machinery, 4 men could plow, seed and harvest 2000 to 4000 acres of wheat in a season. If we turn towards the next heading, what happened to the poor? Obviously, with the arrival of the new machines, it was having a drastic impact on the poor people who earlier used to work in these fields. For the poorer farmers, machines brought misery. They found it difficult to pay back their debts. Many of them deserted their farms and looked for work elsewhere. That is, machines brought misery for poorer farmers. If we look towards the next subheading, rapid rise in production created the grounds for the Great Agrarian Depression. First of all, let me tell you what do we mean by the Great Agrarian Depression. There was an enormous amount of production, but the demand was not there in the world market, so the prices started declining. That led to the Great Agrarian Depression. Mechanization reduced the need for labor. After 1920, most farmers faced trouble. Production has expanded so rapidly during the war and post-war years that there was a large surplus. Unsold stocks piled up, storehouses overflowed with grain, and vast amount of corn and wheat were turned into animal feed. Wheat prices fell and export markets collapsed. This created the ground for the Great Agrarian Depression of the 1930s that ruined wheat farmers everywhere. If we move towards the next heading, that is Dust Bowl. Let me first tell you what was the concept of Dust Bowl. Earlier, the complete ground was covered by the the grasslands and the mat of grass. The soil was tough, but as the farmers started moving towards these lands, they removed the grasslands and they plowed the soil. Whenever the fast winds used to blow, it used to take away this soil, and this turned the winds into blizzards, and the complete area which was turning into a wheat bowl later on turned into a dust bowl. If we look towards the first point, terrifying dust storms began to blow and black blizzards rolled in. In the 1930s, terrifying dust storms began to blow over the southern plains. Black blizzards rolled in very often, 7,000 to 8,000 feet high, rising like monstrous wave of muddy water. As the skies darkened and the dust swept in, people were blinded and choked. Cattle were suffocated to death, their lungs caked with dust and mud. Sand-buried fences covered fields and coated the surfaces of rivers till the fish died. Dead bodies of birds and animals were strewn all over the landscape. Tractors and machines that had plowed the earth and harvested the wheat in the 1920s were now clogged with dust, damaged beyond repair. Let us discuss how the ordinary dust storms became black blizzards. If we go for the reasons of it, they came because the early 1930s were years of persistent drought. Ordinary dust storms became black blizzards only because the entire landscape had been plowed over, stripped of all grass that held it together. When wheat cultivation had expanded dramatically in the early 20th century, jealous farmers had recklessly uprooted all vegetation, and tractors had turned the soil over and broken the sod into dust. The whole region had become a dust bowl. Thank you.